This was a rather large project, very detail-driven project that required a lot of coordination between not just us and the architect and designer, but also with the guys on site. My name is Ken DeCoste. I am the owner of Material Millwork. We are a high-end residential cabinet maker. Everything that we do is fully custom and fabricated by hand right in our shop just south of Boston. We specialize in full home packages like the one here at 45 White Oak. We fabricated all of the cabinetry, everything from the kitchens to the vanities, closets, even some of the entry doors here on this particular project. As you're walking up to the home, you're gonna see two entry doors. One is downstairs for the garage. The second one is upstairs at the main entry. We fabricated both of these in our shop. Some of the challenges with these doors were they're to be clad in a thermary product to match the rest of the exterior of the home, and also on the interior clad in a white oak. So both of these entry doors are rather tall and wide. So when we're making an interior door or an exterior door, we use an aluminum honeycomb for that core. It keeps that door dead flat and prevents any warping, cupping, bowing in the future. And we also use a layer of an aluminum backed insulation because in this case, these are exterior doors. We wanted to add a little bit of R value, keep some of that heat in. So both of these doors are on the same plane as the thermary for the exterior siding. So there was a lot of coordination between us and the guys in the field to make sure that these doors were gonna hit that mark, and it opens rather effortlessly for it being a 600-pound door. Once you're inside that front door, it brings you right into the mudroom. In here we have floor-to-ceiling cabinet doors. Behind those doors, tons of storage. So you have closet rods, you have adjustable shelving, there's a key drop, there's drawers, you name it, it's in there. All of that veneer is consistent throughout the entire mudroom space. We have wall panels that lead you into another hidden door that brings you to the powder room. One of those doors in the mudroom leads you right into the pantry, where there's additional floor-to-ceiling cabinetry as well as a lot of other functional cabinetry. And here is where you really start to see that seamless wood design come together. Running from the mudroom through the pantry and into the kitchen, everything is on the same plane. All of that veneer is seamless. We aligned all of the veneers to match up not only door to door, but we carried that over into the fillers, turned it around corners where there's jams, and that entire veneered wall is just seamless all the way throughout. As you're looking down the run of cabinetry, the mudroom, the pantry, and the kitchen, while they're all separate spaces, they are all on that same plane. You have this nice straight line going through each room. On the pivot doors, these particular hinges require larger gaps in most cases. One of the things that we did to keep all of those gaps consistent at 1/8 of an inch reveal was we carved out the side of the jambs. So what we did there was took some solid stock and actually put a cove molding in there, which allowed the door to swing into the jamb, giving us that consistent 1/8 inch reveal on the exterior when the door is closed. One of the other things about this pantry space is all of the exterior of the doors are that white oak veneer and all of the interiors are plaster. Above the sink in the functional space in the pantry kitchen, there's these beautiful chiseled edged glass shelves. These shelves are supported by a steel structure that is mounted to the framing within the wall. We then clad that steel bracket with the same white oak that was used throughout the project. So as you're walking through the pantry and into the kitchen and the door closes behind you, if you were to turn around and look, you have this floor to ceiling, full wall panel, full seamless design, but that's actually packed with functional cabinetry space, including the refrigerator and the freezer. And then on the right side, you have this shallow spice cabinet. And in the middle, the doorway to the pantry, again, hidden with those 1/8 inch reveals and that same carved out cove for the jamb to allow that door to open. In the working space in the kitchen, there features a double oven, cooktops, and then a ton of drawer storage for all of your pots and pans. Adjacent to that, we have a built-in bench that fits right into the window space that's above it. And then there's that beautiful table that was actually fabricated in Germany using the tree trunks from the same trees that a lot of these veneers came from. Right in the center of the kitchen, we have this giant stone island. With that one, we fabricated all of the cabinet boxes and the substrates to allow the doors to mount to. We needed to save some weight on the full stone fronts, so we carved out the back of that stone and inlaid some oak panels, and it allowed us to use our standard cabinet hinges, as well as mount things like the trash pullout that is also located in the island. In the sink cabinet, that entire piece is floating, and we hid all of the plumbing coming up through the adjacent legs and in the cavity behind there. Now, because that cabinet is so tight, and it does have a garbage disposal in there, we needed to make sure we were still able to access that if it ever needed to be serviced. One of the things we did was made that bottom panel removable, but we also bored a hole right in the center of where that disposal is. In case it does ever get jammed, you can just use the Allen wrench to loosen the disposal rather than have to remove the entire panel. So coming out of the kitchen and into the dining room, you actually have, call it the dining room cabinet, but it's two-sided. So on the other side is the gallery. Now this side behind me, you see two sets of bifold doors, and when we open these up, it exposes some upper and lower cabinetry and appliances that are all finished with a Vero metal. On the opposite side, we have some lower veneered cabinets with some floating shelves above them. Separating the two spaces is actually this guillotine door. So this was quite a challenge for us to figure out in the shop. We've looked at a ton of different hardware to allow this guillotine door to slide up and down while being finished on both faces. Keep in mind, those finishes are different on each side. After a lot of R&D in our shop to figure out how to make this work, we actually opted to go with the classic window weight type of method to install this guillotine door. That consists of a pulley system that attaches to the top of that door and actually has some leaded weights that balance that door to keep it in place as you're opening and closing it. In the living room, we only have one small cabinet that we did there, but it was a bit on the challenging side since it fits into this niche area, but there's this sort of half wall that blocks a little bit of the cabinetry, so we couldn't have two standard opening doors. What we did was had a bifold door riding along a track so that we didn't interfere with the wing wall on the right side, and it folded the doors nicely up against the left wall. Throughout the home, you'll see all of these cabinet doors and the interior doors have these custom stainless steel pulls, and in some cases, pull backers. To achieve these pulls, there was a multi-step process. So we needed to inlay solid wood onto the substrate panels before the pieces were veneered. And then we used a multi-step routing process to achieve that cutout in the notch for the pull, which was then backed by this stainless steel. That's a detail you're gonna see throughout the house. We did use a few other pull types throughout this home as well. Both were integrated. Some of them were just a mitered pull that were still backed by the stainless steel, and others had more of a painted integrated cove pull. But there was no decorative hardware installed in this entire home. As we make our way upstairs, first stop would be the primary suite, and in there you're gonna enter the bathroom first. In the bathroom, we provided the cases for the vanity, as well as a substrate for the doors. This entire vanity is clad in stone, including the sink. So what we did here was fabricated a cradle in the shape of what the final piece was going to be, so that it provided support for the stone. For the doors, we used the same method that we used in the kitchen, where we hogged out the back of the stone and inlaid a wood panel. Flanking the vanity, we have these two incredibly tall cabinets. The doors on these cabinets are also on pivot hinges, and again, we made these from the aluminum honeycomb. On the back side of these, we actually applied a mirror. When you're changing that surface tension, can really cause these doors to bow, which is why we wanted to opt for that really solid core. Going through the primary, we end up in the primary closet, which is two sides, floor to ceiling, wall to wall, of various storage types. As you walk into the actual bedroom area, we have a full wall of wallpapered bifolding doors. When you open these up, they reveal the TV space with some storage cabinetry below, but also a coffee bar, which is a great addition to the primary bedroom. When you're in the bedroom and you don't want to see all of that cabinetry, you can now close all of these doors and just see this nice fabric wallpaper. Around the corner, we have another wardrobe cabinet area. This one is finished in plaster. A few of the challenges that we had in this cabinetry is there was a structural beam that we needed to work around, as well as the vent for the chimney below that goes up through the ceiling. We had to fabricate these cabinets in a manner that would work around them while still allowing them to be functional for the end user. As we make our way into the secondary wing, our first stop is in bedroom 2. In there, we have some built-in closets that are actually painted to match the walls in the room, so we delivered those unfinished. In the bathroom, we provided another stone-clad vanity, so it has a cradle to allow support for the stone, as well as the stone being machined out so that we can inlay a wood panel to allow the drawer fronts to mount to the actual drawers. Above that, we have these really cool hidden medicine cabinets. So the intent here is that there's a flat panel that's on the same plane as the walls with just a small reveal around the perimeter with a pull on the underside. To achieve this, we actually created a small cabinet box that would fit into the framed cavity, and we used some slides hidden on the back of the case, and when not in use, the medicine cabinets can tuck in and give you the unobstructed view to the window. All of the other bedrooms in the secondary wing feature the same type of built-in closet as well as vanity as we're showing here in bath 2. If you make your way into the home using the garage entrance, you're going to go through a thermally cladded door that has the same fabrication method as the main door upstairs. Once you're inside, you walk into the family mudroom. This consists of a small bench with some drawer storage, as well as full wall-to-wall, floor-to-ceiling cabinetry. One of the challenges that we had with this space is there's HVAC that runs through the top of this unit. We integrated the vents for this HVAC right into the top of the doors to allow us to have that seamless floor-to-ceiling look. When you open those cabinet doors, there is a valance at the top of the cabinet. This not only covers the HVAC, but it also is vented in the same manner as the doors to allow that air to flow. As you're making your way from the family mudroom into the lounge, you're gonna pass through another very tall door. This was also one that we provided using that same honeycomb structure. This door is almost 4 feet wide and 10 feet tall. The margins on this door are so small going in between those two walls, we can't allow for any bowing in the future. As you get into the lounge space, we have floor-to-ceiling, wall-to-wall, seamless cabinetry. On the left side, you have full height and full depth storage. In the center section, we have some typical base cabinets with a sink so that you're not having to run upstairs for anything. And then there's some upper cabinets for additional storage. On the right side, this is where things got a little bit challenging. There is a large HVAC system that we needed to hide behind this cabinetry. To achieve that, we just replicated what we did on the left side so that the doors are symmetrical and the look is symmetrical. But when you open those doors, you still have access to the HVAC for future serviceability. There's a lot of time spent on the small, intricate details and a lot of time spent on the overall intent of what that space is going to look like. Putting it all together and making sure it all fits in a proportionate and appropriate manner is where I think things get often overlooked. But that's where we come in and have these discussions with the designers, with the architects, to make sure we're delivering not only a functional space, but a space that meets what their intent is. This project turned out absolutely beautiful. The cabinetry on this project definitely supported the architectural vision of this home. We have the seamless design throughout the house, and I think we nailed that.